Hi guys, welcome back to the Baseline. Today we're going to be talking about Iran's fighter jet gamble, the GPS showdown, and the real reason the world should watch the IAEA. All right guys, let's start this with a quick question. What happens when a nation banned from buying fighter jets for decades suddenly goes shopping in Beijing, while also unplugged from America's GPS system and side-eyeing the world's nuclear watchdog? You get a new Middle East chess game. So it's happening, and it's happening right now in real time, but barely anyone's telling you the real story behind all this. So stay locked in, everybody, because by the end of this episode, hopefully we'll all know more about Iran, China, and global trust than your average expert on TV. So let's talk about the first thing, which is the fighter jet pivot, Iran's big bet here. So here is the first piece of this puzzle. Iran. Yeah, the same Iran whose Air Force still flies American F-14 Tomcats. And those planes, I think, are older than your dad's disco collection, right? And they're eyeing brand new Chinese J-10Cs. And not just window shopping, they're serious. Why? Because that 2020 UN arms embargo that handcuffed them for decades, well, that's gone. But hold up. Nah, there is more to all this. So there's no confirmed shipment of shiny new jets taxiing down Tehran runways yet. So let's get that fact checked out of the way right now. Yes, Iran wants Russian Su-35s. That deal's crawling along like a camel in a snowstorm. But they're looking east now, so to China specifically, to the J-10C, a legit, like 4.5 generation fighter. It's agile, cheap-ish, battle-proven by Pakistan in exercises, though not in open dogfights with India yet, despite the rumors you may or may not hear. But if you see headlines saying Iran has a J-10C, you know better, right? They want them, but signing the check and landing the jet, they're very two different things. So the real reason the J-10C matters is this. Like, let's reflect. What's the big deal here? It's just a plane, right? And it's safe to say wrong. You see, the J-10Cs is basically China's F-16 that didn't need Uncle Sam's permission. And this is a kind of irony thing, right? Irony alert, if you were. Parts of its design did come from Israel's old Lavi project, which itself was an F-16 remix. So in a plot twist straight out of a Netflix spy thriller here, Iran might end up flying jets that share DNA with Israeli engineering to counter Israel's own F-16s. It's kind of insane stuff, right? But geopolitics is weird. But don't get it twisted. It's not just about hardware. It's about systems. Modern air combat is like my plane plus my radar plus my satellite plus my buddies on the ground telling me where you're hiding. And that's where this story jumps from runways to orbit. So it leads us into the next thing, which is goodbye GPS, right? The Baidu play. Iran knows better than to trust the United States GPS network. Why? Because the US can flip that switch whenever it wants. And think that's paranoid? You're gonna have to ask China, because when Taiwan tensions popped off in the 90s, the Pentagon accidentally jammed GPS coverage near Chinese waters. So Beijing built Baidu, its own satellite navigation system. Today, it covers the whole planet. And now, Iran is quietly plugging in to that Chinese satellite umbrella. No more begging Uncle Sam for a signal. No more worries about being stranded at sea, like that old ghost story about the Yingshu ship. So true or not, these messages, they stuck. They basically are saying build your own or stay vulnerable. And this is huge because targeting missiles, guiding drones, coordinating jets, modern war needs reliable eyes in the sky. And Baidu is China's eye, and Iran just bought a pair of glasses. Now, the real question that is out there for you watching right now is, if you were a small country or sanctioned country, would you trust GPS or switch to Baidu? Drop it in the chat. I would love to know your guys' thoughts and comments on this stuff. Which leads us into our next thing, right? Which is the IAEA controversy. Cutting the inspectors. All right, let's talk nukes for just a moment. Iran nuclear program, the IAEA, the UN's nuclear watchdog. There's a claim floating around that Iran just disassociated, itself from the IAEA. And that's not true, not yet anyway. Here's the real play behind that. Iran's certainly frustrated for good reason. I'll largely depend on who you ask. Mossad assassinated Iran nuclear scientists. That's part of the real. Did the IAEA hand Israel a hit list? There's no evidence of that, but that's an Iranian accusation, but not proven by any hard facts. But we all can discern, I suppose. But let's flip the script. Would you keep letting the world's nuclear hall monitor poke around your labs if you thought they were leaking secrets, even just a little bit? Yeah, trust, it's got to cut both ways, and I'm sure Iran feels that way. And Iran hasn't walked away from the IAEA, but they've yanked cameras, blocked extra inspections, all the cooperation levers they used to have as bargaining chips. I don't think they're there anymore, but what's next? Well, here's the real fear, right? If the watchdogs blind, the suspicion meter goes nuclear, right? And that brings this next big geopolitical triangle, which includes Russia, China, Iran. And here's where this all links up in some way, right? Iran wants fighters. Russia promised Su-35s, but they're slow to deliver. China can fill the gap fast if they really wanted to. And Iran also wants satellite eyes. Now, China's got Baidu. Iran wants a plan B if the West keeps its thumb on the economy. So hello, Shanghai, cooperation, organization. There's BRICS, eastward pivot. If they pull this off, you're looking at a tighter Russia, China, Iran triangle. We're talking about hardware, satellites, training, joint drills together, engineers flying in and out. This isn't just buying planes anymore. It's buying a long-term relationship, a long-term alliance. And remember how Pakistan plugged into China's system? Not just planes, but radars, AWACS drills. Iran's blueprint might look very similar. And the subtext here, it's not who sells more jets. It's who owns the loyalty pipeline. And then there's the peace prize circus. I know, guys, it's a random detour, but if you've seen it in the headlines, right? Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. And yeah, the same peace prize that went to Obama before Obama even did anything. It was ridiculous. But if that doesn't tell you that the Peace Prize is kind of a political accessory more than it is really a saint badge, I don't know what does. But here's kind of a fun fact, right? You know how easy it is to get nominated for this prize? Like, I could nominate you, and you could nominate your dog, it doesn't mean you're going to win. It just means someone wrote a letter, right? So, sorry guys. So Trump winning it would basically seal the deal that this trophy is just a PR with a shiny medal at the end of it, right? So what's next? And here's where we end up landing. Iran wants to reboot its entire defense playbook, right? Russia's taking its sweet time, and China's ready if the price and the politics are right. And meanwhile, the US and Israel are watching, poking, sometimes bombing, and sometimes denying, but it's all rinse and repeat, right? As far as the GPS, switched off in favor of Chinese Baidu. The IAEA, still on the ground, but trust is certainly radioactive at this point. And behind it all, I think there just lies a simple truth to it, right? When you corner a country long enough, they're gonna search and find out new friends. So here's what I'd like you guys to do right now. Drop a comment and let me know your opinion. And fact check me on this stuff too. Maybe I'm wrong, and I need to know that when it happens. But drop a comment. Will China actually ship J-10Cs to Iran? Number two question is Baidu going to be the new global standard for GPS? And three, do you think Iran's going to bolt from the IAEA for real? Now, I appreciate you guys watching. Remember, we all succeed when we all can see more clearly, think more deeply, act more wisely, of course. And I'm enjoying the fact that we're able to do this all together. Thank you guys so much for watching The Baseline, and we'll catch you on the next round. All right. Cheers, everybody.